I mean, I will say, based off of how things went with the last time I posted about this, comparing that to now, I will say that maybe I should have done this a little bit more often. But we are ending 1992 in WCW on a high note, or we're trying to, as we move to WCW 1992 Starrcade. If I was to put it into perspective, WCW Starrcade 92 was main evented, I believe. It was a Battle Bowl. It was the Lethal Lottery. It was the Lethal Lottery Battle Bowl. It was main evented by Great Muta winning the Battle Royal. And the King of the Cable tournament. The NWA World Tag Team titles and WCW World Tag Team titles were on the line. Steve Williams and Ron Simmons. Masa Chono defended the NWA World Heavyweight title. And I mean, it's dumbfounding. A cool concept like the Battle Bowl Battle Royal was degraded into such a strange, simplistic thing, and also like a convoluted thing, and also why they did a King of the Cable match when they were doing another tournament with the Battle Bowl, where the winners of the Battle Bowl went into the winners of the Lethal Lottery tag team matches went into the Battle Bowl Battle Royal, and the winner of that was a top contender for the world title. I don't understand why you have two tournament matches ending and you have Great Muta booked 3 times. Technically, Vader was booked 3 times. Sting was booked twice, and Sting wasn't even in, Sting was actually booked 3 times based on the fact that he was in the Lethal Lottery and in the Battle Bowl, and in the King of the Cable match, because he was in the Battle Royal for the Battle Bowl, the tag team qualifier, and he was also in a singles match against Vader. So Sting, Vader, and Muta were all booked 3 times. Because Muta also fought Masa Chono for the world title and in the qualifier for the Battle Bowl. I mean, it's just I don't understand. And this was also the first Starrcade without Ric Flair in WCW. On my end of the gun, we're not having Battle Bowl. Battle Bowl was a part of, I believe it was a part of Wrestle War. I could be wrong. Was it in September? Yeah, it was in September. So it was a part of Wrestle War back in September. And as a part of Wrestle War back in September, our friend Rick Rude, or our favorite man Rick Rude, won the Battle Royal at Battle Bowl. He won the Battle Royal at Battle Bowl to be crowned #1 contender for a world title shot at Starrcade. So our guy here is going to get a world title shot at Starrcade after finally winning the opportunity to get a rematch against Sting. And I'm aware of the fact that technically Starrcade does not end the month of December. Unfortunately, it does not end the month of December. By that I mean it does not end. It's not ending the year. It's not ending the year. We still got another show or two, but the one thing I wanted to make clear is we're back in the Greensboro Coliseum because that's where WCW is most known. It may have been cheaper to do it in Florida, but the fact of the matter is WCW is known in the Mid-Atlantic region, and the fact of the matter is that's where we're at. So it's Pillman versus Ricky Steamboat in a match I'm looking forward to for the United States title. Rick Rude and Sting for the world title. The Enforcers, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko against Tom Zank and Buff Bagwell for the tag team titles. Austin defends the television title against Dustin. Abby against Cactus Jack. And Dino Bravo against Kip Winchester are the announced matches, with also the United States tag team titles actually opening the show, with the Freebirds winning another opportunity to challenge the United States tag team champions for the gold, with the Freebirds getting a rematch against their former rivals, the Steiner Brothers, for the World Tag Team titles. And also, the NWA World title is on the line. Bobby Eaton defends against Jushin Thunder Liger. I think we're going to end on a high, and we're going to aim for the gold in 1992. Honestly, I don't know which way I want to go with this. Because honestly, the Steiner Brothers have not exactly had a ridiculous amount of top contenders, but I do have a new tag team in the wings, that being Dick Slater and Dick Murdoch coming in. So I may go the route of, but it's just a matter of, do I want let's go Slater and Murdoch against the Steiners. Let's go Slater and Murdoch against the Steiners, and we'll have the Steiners keep the U.S. tag titles. And now we move to this with the Dangerous Alliance, which in actual WCW, I do believe the Dangerous Alliance was done by the end of 1992. If anything, the Dangerous Alliance has changed, but is not finished. The Alliance goes in with 2 out of 3 champion, and we leave all 3 with gold. We'll get this match out of the way. Because I'm unsure about giving them a segment, because I don't know if I really want to. But I'm also pretty sure that these other matches will be at least relatively decent. And we'll jump to Abby and Cactus, as Cactus recently turned babyface and is going to start a feud next year with Eddie Gilbert. Eddie Gilbert came in siding with Cactus Jack as Cactus, the start of the Hot Stuff Incorporated. Eddie Gilbert joined up with Abdullah, Mr. Hughes. They had their guys, and they went all together. They went after Sting from April until November, and from there, it was near the end, Cactus started seeing the light, and Cactus turned babyface, and now Cactus is going to start feuding with Abby and Eddie Gilbert. Cactus Jack will regret turning his back on me. I can promise you that. It is my way of giving Cactus a little bit of a push, because Cactus got a push during the feud with Sting, and I would love to see Cactus make his way up the card in the Sting feud, and I would love to see him be like Ron Simmons, as Ron Simmons was somebody that gained a lot of traction in Um, I just realized that that thing was open, so I'm looking at Discord. But either way, but Ron Simmons rose up in 1992. Vader's risen up. Sorry, risen up. Uh, Steve Austin has, Dustin Rhodes has, Arn and Larry Zbyszko have, Rick Rude has, Ricky Steamboat has. You know, I didn't have a lot of stable presence in the beginning of the year, so a lot of people have risen up and I found stability with Simmons, with Sting, Steamboat, Rick Rude, Ron Simmons a step below, occasionally relying on Dusty Rhodes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the fact that I now have Bobby Heenan, I mean, it makes me excited for 1993. You know, the God's honest truth is, it makes me excited for 1993. Unfortunately, I will say I think I hit the popularity cap for Ron Simmons. So I don't know what I don't know what to expect with that, but and and we got the Bobby Heenan show because I figured that this is the best way to use Bobby Heenan on to start with, and then maybe I'll make him a color commentator next year. Ron Simmons finally confronting Vader and Harley Race. I mean, I want to put Booker T and Stevie Ray in the segment, but I know the segment's going to be dragged down if they're a part of it because they're not that popular. Uh, you know what? I also know they're going to be pissed off if they're not a part of the show. So I'd rather have a segment get an 80 as opposed to I'd rather a segment that gets an 80 as opposed to a segment that pisses people off that I could have prevented. You know what I mean? I'd rather do that. We got to put together some of our guys. We'll bring in Superstar. Because again, this is the season finale of the show. This is the season finale of the show, so how fitting is it that the feud of 1992 is where we will lead into 1993. Rude versus Sting. You know what? I gotta do this match because I want to split up. I want to split up the Dangerous Alliance matches And the only way to do that is to not have them one right after the other, because I'm of the Vince McMahon belief that a manager, if Paul's doing this match, then he should not be out for the next one. He should be out 2 matches from now. So it's spacing out this match from Bobby Eaton's match and spacing out Bobby Eaton's match from Rick Rude's match, because Paulie is going to be managing both guys or all three guys, which is also the benefit of not having somebody managing. Which is the benefit of not having somebody manage. Which would be the benefit, I should say, which would be the benefit of having somebody manage Steve Austin and have Bobby Eaton manage, Paul Heyman manage Eaton and Rick Rude or something of that nature. And as you can tell, I'm doing a little bit of that because we are welcoming a new member into the Dangerous Alliance, and the new member into the Dangerous Alliance is Tony Norris, as Don Morocco is already a new member, but Don Morocco is not going to be a manager. Don Morocco basically was welcomed into the Dangerous Alliance as a way to make to put him to work, I guess, is the best way to put it. Because basically Don Morocco has not done anything, and for whatever reason I signed to a long contract, and instead of releasing him, I figured, screw it, why not use him? I figured, screw it, why not use him? The fear of new is like the fear of night. And the fact is, don't like admitting their fears. Especially to a dangerous man. And Kevin Sullivan is anything but not a dangerous man. Kevin Sullivan is 100% a dangerous man. We will throw Barry Windham a bone, with Barry Windham getting a match with Vinny Vegas on the pay-per-view. Why? Because, as I said, it's about spacing out the matches between. It's about spacing out the matches between. I'm sorry. That's actually what I wanted to do. It's about spacing the matches out between the Paul Heyman's clients, because that's frankly what I want. The new generation in WCW is hungry. I will give them that. I will not go down without a fight. I also forgot about the Enforcers versus the Z-Man. I forgot about the Enforcer versus the Z-Man and Tom Zink. Buff Bagwell. But I was going to say this match is going to get a lot of time because I want to give it a lot of time. Because I trust Ricky Steamboat and Brian Pillman to put in a wrestling clinic, to say the least. And we will go the route of post-match. There. Things are not over between Brian Pillman and things are not over between Brian Pillman and Ricky Steamboat because I don't want him to be. Simple as that. I just don't want him to be. And if I want to put the NWA title on the line, I have to grab the NWA title. Interesting tag team. Interesting, yes, the WCW was still in the NWA at this point because Bill Watts chose to enter the NWA when he took over the WCW. But the Harris Twins are the Caribbean Tag Team Champions. Bobby Eaton, I allowed him to win the world title from the former champion, Jushin Liger, which honestly I didn't even realize Liger was the champion before. Unfortunately, Bobby Eaton's not defending the title as much as I would like. I credit UWFI for defending the tag titles, and Bob Backlund and Victor Zangiev winning, and then Magnificent Mimi. I don't even know where she's defending the titles. Oh, LPW. That's going to be a difficult task because those companies went out of business. Yeah, that's going to be a difficult task, but either way. But either way, we got the NWA World Title on the line as Bobby Eaton and Jushin Liger collide in what should be a pretty decent match, I must say. Or I will say, it should be a pretty decent match. And of course, Beautiful Bobby is going to keep the belt. Because I got more to do with Beautiful Bobby and less to do with Jushin Liger. This year, Liger's got something to do next year, but this year, we'll see what happens. I used to think what would it be like to be the man? And now I look down at this title and realize I am the man. Because there is no way to question it. Sting is 100% the guy in WCW, and I would 100% take it and say, abso-freaking-lutely, Sting is the man in WCW. 100%. We will be opening the door to any potential challengers for our championship gold because we will be ready. I hate to say it, but at this time, WCW was not really built for 2 tag team titles. I understand why they had it to a degree because it's something that they had back in the 80s. But when they had it back in the 80s, the tag team division was a little bit deeper. And the one thing that I would say is I wish that Starrcade was a week from now where Sting was 200 days as champion. But the fact of the matter is, once he drops the belt, it doesn't matter. The day reigns don't matter because once he drops the belt, it's not going to make much of a difference. And yes, if the question comes down, or if the question was asked, yes, Sting is in fact dropping the title tonight to the Ravishing One inside a steel cage. And I know Starrcade ending with a heel winning doesn't seem like the, proper way to end the biggest show of the year, but you can't end the biggest show of the year just with something, just, you know, I mean, how do you put it? Just because, um, just because it's the biggest show of the year doesn't mean a babyface has to win. Because there's going to be plenty of things and plenty of stories going into 1993. Pillman and Steamboat, Bobby Eaton still the NWA champion, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko making an open challenge to any team in the world. The Steiners are still the United States champions. Cactus Jack's ascension, Ron Simmons and Van Vader, Ron Simmons and Van Vader. Rick Rude is world champion. Steve Austin is still the television champion, and the power of the Dangerous Alliance continues to build. But of course, I almost forgot, if this is the season finale and I want to avoid having to deal with idiots being pissed off and frustrated, then there's only one thing I have to do, and that is put those people that may be frustrated, no, they're okay. Eddie Gilbert's okay, but Jim Duggan and Ivan Koloff, Al Perez, Dickie Slater, Kevin Sullivan's booked. Yeah, we'll go 15 man. Yeah, we'll go 15 man. If you're in an angle, it counts. This will be the debut, technically, of. This is the WCW debut of Dick Slater and Dick Murdoch. Yeah, Brian Adias. 15-man battle royal. Winner will get a United States title shot on the outset of the year. Or, well, screw it. The winner will get a United States title shot to end the year on the last episode of the year. Because Ricky is now 8 times successful defense and only 84 days as champion. They've only held the belts for 65 days. It feels like they've held the belts for over a year. Holy moly. Proper surprised by this match with Jericho and David Isley. Good job. I mean, proud. Good job, Jericho. Holy crap. Hacksaw Jim Duggan will get the title shot against Ricky Steamboat. Hacksaw Duggan will get the title shot against Ricky Steamboat for the for the WCW United States Championship. And I will point this out now. This is probably the last time that the Mongolian Stomper will be booked, not just at a pay-per-view, but for any time working for me, as it is a wide assortment showing the era, as I still have a lot of guys from the past, but also guys built for the future. Or guys to build for the future. And now we move into Starrcade with the Steiners, starting up with the Freebirds, as the Steiners keep the NWA the WCW Tag Team United States Tag Titles. Unfortunately, I will say, to my knowledge, actually, the only title that changed hands, there's only one title that changed hands tonight, and that was in the main event. Dino Bravo gets the victory. I love Dino Bravo, and I'm gonna give him another run. I've always thought Dino could have used another run. I'm gonna use him as best I can. A little less than I expected, but if it helps Booker, Ron, and Stevie Ray and Vader because of the association, fine with me. Fine with me. Maybe I'll do another consolidated one at a later date, but I'd also like to point out it was a sellout. The one thing I was also going to say, the one thing I would also say is that I was actually considering was doing a Legends portion of the show because we're back in the Greensboro Coliseum, and it is the home away from home. It is the first Starrcade back in North Carolina in probably a lot longer than expected. But this part of it you can consider sort of a Hall of Fame portion or a Legends portion because Bill Watts may not be working for me next year. We'll see what happens. Billy Graham likely won't be, but either way. Damn, another surprise. I didn't expect this match to do as good as it did. I'm glad I kept the feud going. Genuinely, I'm glad I kept the feud going. 100%. I am 100% glad I kept the feud going. Props to them for a good showing. Props to Kevin Sullivan for making a case. Basically, also, I think this is what Jim Cornette did in Smoky Mountain with, or similar to what Cornette did. I know it's what he did with the Unabomb, aka Glenn Jacobs. He basically had a mouthpiece come in and start the build for the bigger guy, and that's what I don't know if that's what Kevin Sullivan's doing in Smoky Mountain right now, but that's what I'm having him do for me with WCW. He's not going to work right out of the gate. He's coming in as a manager to team with the Night Stalker, aka Brian Clark, and giving Brian Clark the spotlight on Starrcade kind of proves that I have big plans for Brian Clark. And this may not show anything, but I do have ideas for Vinny Vegas as well. Or a plan for Vinny Vegas as well. And now we move to the bigger part of the show, the upper card with Ricky Steamboat. I'm happy that Ricky Steamboat and Brian Pillman did that good. And I'm gonna say this again. It's not over yet. I'm gonna get one more match out of Ricky Steamboat and Brian Pillman, and it may as well be let him go 30 more minutes, let him go 10 more minutes, and let's do a 30-minute Iron Man match. If anything, let's do it at Clash of Champions in January for the United States Championship and give Ricky Steamboat his 10th title defense. And if this does what I want, and that elevates Brian Pillman, because I do have a plan for Pillman and Austin to potentially team up as the Hollywood Blondes in 1993, but we'll see what happens. A good middle of the road middle of the road match. I'm happy. I'm happy. Honestly, I'm happy. Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko do exactly as good as I expected, and another good middle of the road match. Double A and Zbyszko are an amazing tag team. Double A and Zbyszko are an amazing tag team, I gotta say. 100%. Double A and Zbyszko are an amazing tag team. God. Whew. Stinger's got to be repackaged, excuse me. I should have did a video package at the end. I should have did a video package at the end or something at the end where they celebrate. You know, where the Dangerous Alliance celebrates. But either way, Rick Rude is the World Heavyweight Champion at WCW, ending what was Sting's May until December. So that's 7 months. Sting spent 7 months as champion. Hey. I mean, I almost let Steve Austin spend a year as television champion, so 7 months as world champion for Stinger. And most of that 7 months was feuding with Eddie Gilbert. So, hey, whatever works, you know. Whatever works. And Sting found his footing. But props to Rick Rude and Sting. And this is the biggest increase we've gotten from any show thus far as popularity increases. But if you want to see more from WCW 1992, show the support by keeping the views up. And if you want to see more, let me know down in the comment section below what you would like to see. If you want to see a specific breakdown, if you want to see my specific plan for somebody like Bobby Eaton or the Enforcers, Steve Austin, Dustin, etc., let me know down in the comment section below if you want me to do a booking breakdown of what the plan could be for those guys in 1993. As honestly, that actually sounds like a bit of fun. But with that being said, I'm done for now, and I will see you in the next video.